Hi, this is Brad from How I Got Hired. Today I'm answering a couple of questions from Reddit users. So the first question is from atomcrafter, and atomcrafter says, I have a bachelor's degree in applied physics and chemistry. I graduated about 4 years ago. I apply to positions for which I am fully qualified daily. Those now number in the thousands, and for 98% of those there's no response at all. I spent the last year doing graduate work in physics, and this has changed nothing. So, Adam Crafter, there are a lot of different facets to this problem and to this question, and there's not a whole lot of detail here, or rather, I would have a lot of follow-up questions for you if we were doing one-on-one coaching. But I'll just kind of elaborate at a high level of what I'm hearing. So, Adam Crafter, you say that you've applied to thousands of positions, and that actually is a little bit concerning because a lot of people think that job seeking is just a numbers game, and if I blast my resume out to enough people, eventually someone's going to see it, they're going to call me back, and I'm going to get hired. But what that really says to me is that you're not putting a lot of time and effort, and especially research, into each job application that you're submitting. And I can't overstate the importance of this. In fact, I've even seen other posters here on Reddit, on the jobs board, and on the career advice subreddit, talking about how when they started slowing down and doing research into companies and doing research into specific job postings and applying in a very strategic and focused way, instead of applying en masse, just bulk submission of the resume to as many postings as they could find, that they got results much more quickly. And so, given that you're submitting your applications to thousands of jobs, I imagine you're not spending several hours on each one, specifically articulating your unique qualifications and also positioning yourself as the best applicant for the position you're applying to. And I think that's really important, especially to look at the language that's used in the job posting, to look at what they're asking for, what type of skills they want, and then to draw specific examples and include those in your resume, and to do all the heavy lifting for the person screening your application. So you don't want the person reviewing your resume, reviewing your application, to have to guess or to have any question in their mind at all that you meet the qualifications for the position. Instead, you want to say, you name these 5 skills on the job listing. Here is my experience that maps directly to those 5 skills, so you can clearly understand why I'm qualified and why I'm a great applicant for this position. And then the job of the cover letter in this scenario is to kind of highlight that and weave a coherent narrative that explains, I've done these things, you asked for XYZ experience, I've gained that experience through these things that I've done. Take a look at my resume, you can see the details, and then reach out to me and we can connect and discuss this opportunity. So really, I think the key thing here is that you don't want to make the recruiter or the hiring manager or the person doing your phone screen do a lot of heavy lifting mentally. Instead, you want to have done all that legwork for them so they can very clearly see, oh, this person drew me a map. They've shown me that they're qualified. They've shown me that I can mark off XYZ boxes for each of these skills, and I can pass this on to a hiring manager. I can pass this on to a person that works in a lab and can evaluate them for a fit. In other ways, I can get to interview stage with this candidate. You also said that you spent the last year doing graduate work in physics, and that hasn't changed your results. So it's great that you're doing work in your field, and that sort of develops identity capital. It shows you're a person that's worked in the lab, you're a person that has relevant background experience. And I think the biggest thing is the application strategy piece that I just talked about. Honestly, it's often more challenging to get someone to look at your relevant experience and understand how it's relevant than it is to get relevant experience in the first place. So Adam Crafter, I'd be really interested to see your resume and to get a sense of how you're articulating your experience, and also to see some job postings that you're interested in, because I think it's really, really important. I can't emphasize enough how important it is that you are clearly mapping your experience to the roles and responsibilities and qualities that they're asking for in a specific role. As you're applying, you really shouldn't have a resume that you send out for every job. You should at the very least have a few types of resumes. Maybe one is for a lab assistant, maybe one is for teaching assistant. I'm not in chemistry and physics, but I know in technology, you would maybe have a business analyst resume and a web developer resume and a project manager resume. And those could all be the same sets of experience that you're talking about, but you just want to present them in a way that emphasizes the most relevant aspects for each of those jobs. I wouldn't list a bunch of web design, HTML, JavaScript, and so on and so forth on a project management resume. I might talk more instead about the projects that I executed, the planning, working with stakeholders, things like that. So I think it's important to kind of understand you might want to show different facets of the same experience or the same position that you held depending on what they're looking for and what type of background you want to reflect as you're applying to jobs. Okay, this went pretty long, but I hope it was helpful. You can find more career advice and job search tips at howigothired.com. Thanks for listening.